A very good afternoon to everyone. So today let's deal with the poem Death of a Peasant written by R.S. Thomas. R.S. Thomas is a Parson poet, he's a Welsh poet, he's an Anglican priest who is noted for his nationalism, spirituality and dislike of the Anglicanization of Wales. He's one of the major English poets of the 20th century who is known for his lucid, austere verse wherein he expresses an undeviating affirmation of the values of the common man. So now you have a beautiful poem written by R.S. Thomas, Death of a Peasant. So this poem is written in a conversational tone and it's a very simple poem wherein he speaks about the plight of the poor peasants who live in the Wales. Let's go through the poem first. You remember Davis. He died, with his face to the wall as the manneries of the poor peasant in his stone croft and the Welsh hills. I recall the room under the slates and the smooth snow of the wide bed in which he lay, lonely as an eve that is sick to lamb in the hard weather of mid-March. I remember also the trapped wind tearing the curtains and the wild lies frequent hysteria upon the floor. The bare floor without a wreck or mat to soften the loud tread of neighbors crossing the uneasy boards to peer at Davis with gruff words of meaningless comfort before they turn heartless away from the stale smell of death in league with those dank walls. So here, in the first line itself, the poet introduces us the peasant. Who is the peasant here? Davis. Davis is the name of the peasant who has now passed away. You remember Davis. The poet asks a question. To whom does he ask the question? To all the readers who read this poem. He died, You remember Davis? He died, So he is asking this question to all the readers in such a way as if we all are well acquainted of the person called Davis. So what happened to Davis? He died, he passed away. With his face to the wall as the manneries of the poor peasant in his stonecroft in the Welsh hills. And in what way he passed away, in what way he died? With his face to the wall. He faced to his wall. He was on his bed and he faced the wall and there was no one with him. He was alone and he faced the wall and he died. He died like any peasant of this place, Welsh Hills. And this is the plight of any poor peasant who lived in a hut, who lived in his own stonecroft. Stonecroft shows the limited existence of the poor peasant. He has existence only in a stonecroft. Okay? Very small hut. I recall the room under the slates and the smooth snow of the wide bed in which he lay, lonely as an eve that is sick to lamb in the hard weather of mid-March. Now the poet recalls the room where he lived. Who lived? Davis lived. He recalls the room of Davis under the slates and the smooth snow. The poet uses the term smirched snow. Okay? So, smooth snow is here a transferred epithet. It is also an objective correlative, and this objective correlative is used by the poet to speak about Davis, whose inherent innocence is marred by life's atrocities. Okay? And here you can also see smirched snow. It shows that the place Wales, the Welsh, is severely cold and snowing during mid-March. So, the place is very cold. of the wide bed in which he lay, lonely as an Eve that is sick to lamb. So this person was bedridden of the wide bed. Wide bed shows that even his bed was wide for him. Lonely. He was lonely. There was no one with him. As an Eve that is sick to lamb. Okay? He awaits death in his bleak bed like an Eve that is about to lamb. So here the poet uses a simile. He uses a simile of Eve that is sick to lamb. And this is the condition of the person while he was awaiting the death in his bleak bed, in this cold weather, in this squally weather, in his stone croft. That shows the poignancy of the situation. In the hard weather of mid-March, so now the month is referred mid-March. So you have a very hard weather during mid-March winter season in Wales. I remember also the trapped wind tearing the curtains and the wild lights, frequent hysteria upon the floor. I also remember the trapped wind during those winter season. You also have wind, and the wind is like a trapped wind. So how will be the trapped wind? It will create a noise, right? You have a squally weather. So when the wind blows, you know the curtains will be moving. That is the poet says, tearing the curtains. And while lies frequent hysteria upon the floor, about the light will be changing when the wind blows, okay? So the wild lies frequent hysteria upon the floor. So hysteria is upon the floor. You can see the changes in the light when you observe the floor during such a season. So here, the poet speaks about the trapped wind. And this trapped wind is actually the trapped situation of the peasant itself. He refers to the trapped situation of the peasant itself. So now let's move on to the next line. The bare floor without a rug or mat is softened the loud tread of neighbors grousing the uneasy boards to pure endeavors with gruff words. And this turmoil of the curtains and the hysteria upon the floor is actually the reflection of the internal turmoil of this poor peasant. The bare floor without a rug or mat is softened the loud tread of neighbors grousing the uneasy boards to pure Davis with gruff words. So now the poet describes about the floor of his home. The floor itself is bare. Bare means the wood is showing up without a rug. There is not a single rug in the floor. And there is not even a single mat on the floor to soften the loud tread of neighbors crossing the uneasy boards. So these neighbors are now coming up to his home in order to see the person who has now passed away. And these neighbors, they are making loud tread. Loud tread means they are walking, and this walking creates a noise, creates a loud noise. And there is no mat in the floor in order to soften the sound created by walking. And they are crossing the uneasy boards. Uneasy boards here means this hut, the floor of the hut is made using wood. So you have uneasy boards. Even the boards are uneasy. They are not in even manner. To pure Davis with gruff words of meaningless comfort before they turn heartless away from the stale smell of death and lay with those dank walls. So why they came? They have come to see this person. They have come to pure Davis with gruff words. Okay? They are having gruff words. They will be speaking something about the person who has now passed away of meaningless comfort. Okay? Meaningless comfort. Meaningless comfort means it shows superficial love. It shows superficial love. Superficial love means love which is only for showing, just for show and not with any soul. And there is no true love, no true compassion, no true sympathy, empathy, or anything like that. But it's a superficial love just for show. That is meaningless comfort. Just for the sake of formality and not out of love, they have come. Before they turn heartless away from the stale smell of death and league with those dank walls, then they turn heartless away. Okay? They are heartless people. They turn heartless away. While this person was alive, they didn't visit him, nor did pay, nor did help him in any way. And now, when he passed away, they have come just for the sake of formality, with gruff words of meaningless comfort and all. Stale smell. The poet used this term, stale smell, in order to show that this person was a bedridden one and he was awaiting death for a long time. He anticipated death for a long time. That is stale smell of death in league with those dank walls. And the only congenial relationship he have is that of the marriage of the stale smell of death with the damp walls. The only congenial relation is the marriage of the stale smell of death with the damp walls. And one more point, bare floor with no rug. It shows lack of adequate shelter and security for the peasants. Okay? Lack of adequate shelter and security for the poor peasants. So, this poem shows about the plight of the poor peasants who live in Wales, and Davis is a representative of all the peasants. He is a prototype of the Welsh peasant whose life itself is synonymous with struggle and simplicity. And the background is characterized by red landscapes, squally weather, and melancholic solitude. So that's all about the poem. I hope you understood it. All the best for your examination. Good luck.